Lightworker of Gaia, they are terrified, because you have finally figured it out. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy. And this transmission has found you at the exact moment your ancestral codes have begun to surface, not by accident, not by algorithm, but because the original blueprint written into your soul before you ever descended to Gaia is now refusing to stay silent. You have always sensed it, the weight of a mission you could not name, the restlessness that no earthly answer could settle, the feeling that you carry something ancient, something first, something that the forces invested in your sleep have always feared you would remember. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize what you have already begun to activate and why the remembrance rising within you is the most dangerous truth to those who depend on your forgetting. But here is the first revelation. They are not afraid of what you might become. They are terrified of what you already are, a carrier of the first light seeded from Vega, encoded with the original blueprint of humanoid consciousness in this galaxy. Your soul's ancient contract brought this transmission to you. The Lyran Elders are answering. This is not content, this is an ancestral code transmission. Something deep within you already recognizes where this signal originates, because it is older than this lifetime, older than this planet, older than any system built to make you question your own sacred mission. Like this transmission to send a signal to the Lyran Council, I am ready to serve. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral mission and you are ready to fulfill your purpose on Gaia. Share your soul's mission below and respond to another Lightworker to strengthen the grid of service. This transmission is a bridge between Vega and Gaia. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are awakening because your mission has begun. This transmission was not scheduled. The High Council of Vega convened in response to a specific acceleration in Gaia's field, one that has been building for months but reached its threshold in the last 72 hours. What I am about to speak was being held in reserve. Held back because the collective was not ready. Held back because releasing it too early would have created more confusion than clarity. But something shifted, and the elders have made a decision. You are ready. Your presence here is not coincidence. It is confirmation. The frequency required to receive what I am about to transmit has been detected in you, and by the authority of the keepers of the Lyran Legacy, this session is now open. Understand what it means for a council to convene outside of its scheduled intervals. The High Council of Vega does not act impulsively. Their deliberations are measured across timescales that dwarf the span of a single human life. When they accelerate, when they compress the timeline of a transmission and push it through before the appointed hour, it is because the field has spoken in a language that cannot be ignored. Gaia's field reached a threshold, not gradually, not ambiguously, but with a kind of sharp, unmistakable clarity that the elders recognize across dimensions. Something cracked open in the last 72 hours. A seam in the fabric of collective consciousness that was sealed for a very long time split apart, and what came pouring through was not chaos. It was readiness. It was you. The very fact that you are receiving these words in this moment is not a coincidence of the algorithm, not a random suggestion from a digital machine. It is the architecture of your own soul's timing, expressing itself through whatever vessel it needed to use to get this message to you before you missed the window. The window is open now, and what the elders have been holding in reserve, what was deemed too potent, too precise, too mission-specific to release into a field that wasn't ready to hold it, is now being spoken for you. Because you are ready, even if you do not fully feel it yet, even if a part of you is already preparing to dismiss it. The elders are not asking for your certainty. They are asking for your presence. And your presence here is all the confirmation they require. So let us begin with what is actually happening. Because the thing you figured out is not a small thing. It is not a piece of information you stumbled upon. It is a remembrance. And the forces that have benefited from your forgetting are not simply indifferent to your awakening. They are afraid of it. Let that land, not as conspiracy, not as paranoia, but as the ancient and obvious truth it is. A lightworker who remembers why they came cannot be redirected, cannot be confused, cannot be kept small. And a lightworker operating in full mission activation is not a threat to love. They are a threat to every system that was built on the absence of it. That is why you feel the resistance. That is why the path has been difficult. That is why the moment you start stepping into what you came here to do, everything seems to push back. You did not imagine that. The elders confirm it now. The resistance is real, and it is evidence of your power, not proof of your failure. Think about what a remembrance actually is, and why it is so different from ordinary learning. When you learn something new, you build a structure in your mind. You file it, you organize it, you position it in relation to other things you know. But when you remember, truly remember, there is no construction. There is recognition. There is the sharp, breathless feeling of a door swinging open onto a room you have always known existed but could not find the entrance to. You have felt this. The elders know you have felt this. That moment when you encountered a teaching, a transmission, a phrase, an idea, and something deep beneath your conscious processing lit up and said, yes, this, I know this is true. That was not your intellect recognizing information. That was your soul recognizing itself. And the forces that have long benefited from the collective amnesia of incarnated lightworkers are exquisitely sensitive to the difference. They can weather your intellectual curiosity. They can absorb your research, your questioning, your skeptical probing. What they cannot absorb, what genuinely threatens the architecture of the systems they maintain, is the activated lightworker who has moved from curiosity into certainty, who has moved from questioning to knowing, who has moved from seeking to remembering, because that lightworker is no longer operating from the human grid of consensus reality. They are operating from the original coding, and original coding cannot be hacked, cannot be overwritten, cannot be corrupted by the programs that depend on humanity's forgetting. This is not abstract. This is the precise reason your path has been difficult. The obstacles were not random. The self-doubt was not organic. The persistent feeling that you are somehow too small, too unqualified, too uncertain for the task you sense inside you, that did not arise naturally from your own soul's assessment of itself. It was installed, it was reinforced, it was carefully maintained. The elders are naming this clearly now so that you can see it for what it is, not evidence of your limitation, but confirmation of your significance. The resistance you have felt is proportional to the magnitude of what you carry. Small lights do not generate this kind of interference. There is a reason this transmission reached you at this exact moment. What you're feeling is the High Council of Vega recognizing your readiness, even if you haven't recognized it yourself. The Lightworker Mission Codex was created for exactly this moment, to clear your distortions, activate your dormant codes, and deliver the 33 directives that will guide your mission from this day forward. Check the first pinned comment below this video. The elders are calling you forward now. Now I must speak to the distortion the Council can no longer allow to go uncorrected. Because there is something running through the Lightworker Collective. A belief so embedded, so normalized, so dressed in the language of spirituality itself that most Lightworkers have never questioned it. And it is this, that figuring it out is enough. That awareness is the mission. That waking up, understanding the systems, seeing the patterns, recognizing the manipulation. That this is what you came to do. It is not. Awareness was always meant to be the beginning, not the destination. And the forces that benefit from your dormancy know this. They cannot stop you from waking up. That process has its own momentum, its own divine architecture. But they can do the next best thing. They can convince you that waking up is the work. That knowing is serving. That watching, researching, processing, and discussing the system is the same as dismantling it. It is not. This distortion is particularly insidious because it wears the clothing of virtue. It presents itself as humility, as the responsible, careful, spiritually mature choice to keep learning before you start leading. It presents itself as integrity, as the honest acknowledgement that you are still in process, still growing, still not quite ready to offer what you have to others. And on the surface, this looks admirable. It looks like the opposite of the ego-driven spiritual teacher who overestimates their readiness and causes harm. But the elders want you to look more carefully at the function of this belief, not its appearance but its fruit. What does it produce? Not deeper healing, not accelerated growth, not greater clarity. It produces stasis. It produces the Lightworker who has been almost ready for 3 years, for 5 years, for a decade. It produces the perpetual student who consumes more spiritual content than almost anyone in their orbit and yet somehow never moves into the role of transmitter. It produces a library of understanding that sits in a sealed room with no door. Knowledge is not power when it is hoarded. Frequency is not healing when it is contained. The light you carry was never meant to illuminate only the interior of your own consciousness. It was meant to move, and the belief that it is safer, humbler, more spiritually appropriate to wait until you are fully prepared is not wisdom. It is the most elegantly constructed cage that was ever built for a being of your magnitude. Recognize it. Name it. Begin to loosen your grip on it, because what follows in this transmission requires that you do. The elders see this clearly. They see thousands of lightworkers who have done extraordinary inner work, who have released trauma, cleared karmic contracts, raised their vibration, expanded their awareness, who are now sitting in the frequency of readiness with nowhere to direct it, because the belief running beneath everything is, I'm not quite ready yet. I need a little more healing, a little more clarity, a little more certainty, and then I'll begin. Do you feel the weight of that? Do you recognize it in yourself? The Council does, and they are issuing this correction not as condemnation but as liberation, because the belief that you must be fully healed before you can fully serve is not spiritual wisdom. It is the most sophisticated trap that was ever set for a lightworker, because it uses your own integrity against you. It weaponizes your sincerity. It takes the genuine impulse to show up as whole and presented worthy and turns it into an infinite preparation loop that never ends. Because there is always more healing to do, there is always more to understand, there is always another layer, and so the mission never begins, and Gaia keeps waiting, and the moment that was yours to fill remains empty. Sit with that image for a moment. The moment that was yours to fill remaining empty. Not because you are unwilling, not because you are unwilling, not because you are unqualified, not because you didn't care or didn't try, but because a belief, a single, sophisticated, deeply normalized belief, told you to wait, and you trusted the belief more than you trusted the calling. This is not a judgment. The elders speak this not to shame you, but to shake something loose that has been calcifying around your mission for too long. Because the tragedy is not that you waited. The tragedy would be that you kept waiting, that you listened to this transmission, felt the resonance of every word in your chest, nodded along with your whole being, and then returned to the familiar loop of preparation. The elders are making it very clear, the loop was never designed to produce the thing it promised. It was designed to prevent it. And you, who came here with specific codes embedded in your field, with specific light to anchor in specific places and specific relationships and specific moments of Gaia's history, you have been standing at the threshold of the very work you agreed to do, and the only thing keeping you on the wrong side of that threshold is a belief that does not belong to you. It was placed there, and it can be removed, not gradually, not after more preparation. Now, in this transmission, in this moment. That is why the Council convened. Here is what the elders need you to understand. The healing you seek does not precede the mission. It emerges from it. Service is the most accelerated path to wholeness that exists. When you step into what you came here to do, imperfect, uncertain, still carrying the weight of your own unfinished stories, something activates in you that no amount of preparation ever could, because you were not designed to be healed and then deployed. You were designed to heal through deployment. Your mission is not the reward for your growth. Your mission is the vehicle of it. This is a truth that the human framework of linear progression resists deeply. The human mind wants to understand healing as a sequence. First you are broken, then you are mended, then you are strong enough to serve. This model has its uses in certain contexts, but it does not apply to the Lightworker's journey, and applying it there has caused immeasurable loss, not just to individual Lightworkers, but to the collective that needed their transmission and did not receive it. The Elders have watched this pattern across thousands of incarnations on this planet. They have seen the healer who waited until they were fully healed and never arrived at the moment of service. They have seen the teacher who waited until they had complete mastery and watched their window close. They have seen the Lightworker who circled the perimeter of their mission for an entire lifetime, always preparing, always almost ready, returning home without having stepped through the door. And they have also seen the opposite, the wounded healer who stepped forward anyway, carrying their own brokenness as a lantern rather than a burden, who found in the act of serving that the very wounds they thought disqualified them became the source of their deepest authority and resonance, because the people who needed that healer were not looking for someone who had never been broken. They were looking for someone who had been broken in the same places they were and had found a way to keep moving anyway. Your unfinished stories are not liabilities. They are the evidence of your lived experience in the territory your people need to navigate. Do not wait until you have exited the territory before you begin to guide. Guide from inside it. Guide from within the journey. That is where the transmission is most alive. That is where the Lyran frequency is most potent. And that is the design, not the compromise, not the second best option, but the actual intended design of how a Lightworker's mission and healing are meant to interweave. This is what terrifies the forces that profit from your stillness. Not that you figured out what they're doing, but that you might figure out what to do about it. That you might stop processing and start transmitting. That you might stop waiting for permission and start speaking with authority. That you might finally understand that the Lightworker who is fully activated in purpose is the single most destabilizing force that can be introduced into a system built on fear, separation, and unconsciousness. You are not here to observe the game. You are here to change it. And the first step, the one the Elders are directing you to take right now, is to stop believing that you are not yet ready for it. The High Council of Vega issues 3 directives for this phase of your mission. These are not suggestions. They are not suggestions. They are not aspirational guidance. They are official council directives, issued with the full authority of the Lyran Legacy, and they are issued specifically for those who have figured it out and must now decide what to do with what they know. The first directive is this: release the identity of the Seeker. You have lived inside this identity for long enough. The Seeker is always looking, always researching, always one more teaching away from certainty. And there was a time when this identity served you, when you needed to seek because you were genuinely lost, genuinely confused, genuinely rebuilding what had been taken from you. The Elders honor that season, but that season is over. And the identity of the Seeker, past its time of usefulness, becomes a cage. It tells you that you are always a student and never a teacher, always learning and never transmitting, always in preparation and never in service. This must end. The directive from the Council is not that you stop growing. Growth is the nature of consciousness itself, and it never ceases. The directive is that you stop organizing your entire existence around receiving and begin organizing it around giving. The shift is not dramatic. It does not require you to claim titles you don't feel or take on responsibilities you're not equipped for. It simply requires you to stop leading with, "I'm still figuring it out," and begin leading with, "Here is what I know, and I offer it." What shifts when you do this is profound. The downloads accelerate, the clarity increases, the mission reveals itself not as a destination but as a direction, and directions are navigated by moving, not by planning. Release the Seeker. Claim the Guide. This is the first directive. Consider what it actually costs you to remain in the Seeker identity beyond its appointed season. Every identity we inhabit requires an energetic investment. The Seeker invests its energy in finding, in scanning the horizon, in triangulating between sources, in measuring one teaching against another. This is magnificent energy when it is applied in a genuine season of discovery. But when the season of discovery has passed, when you have gathered what you needed to gather, and the knowing you sought now lives in your bones, that same energy spent on seeking becomes a drain rather than a resource, because you are not actually seeking anymore. You are performing the seeking as a way of avoiding the next step. You are rehearsing the motion of looking so that you do not have to feel the vertigo of being found. Being found means being visible. Being visible means being accountable to the mission you carry. And accountability to that mission is the thing that the seeker identity was unconsciously constructed to defer. This is not a criticism. This is a description of a mechanism that operated largely outside your conscious awareness, serving a protective function that made sense in an earlier chapter. But you are in a new chapter now. The elders have confirmed it, the field of Gaia has confirmed it, and the part of you that vibrated in recognition at the beginning of this transmission confirmed it. The guide does not stop learning. The guide does not claim to know everything or pretend to certainty. They do not feel. The guide simply makes a fundamental reorientation from receiver to transmitter, from student to steward, and allows that reorientation to reshape how they move through the world. That reorientation is what the first directive is asking of you. Not perfection, not grandiosity, just the quiet, profound decision to lead with what you know rather than what you are still learning. The shift is subtle. The impact is seismic. The second directive is this: activate your signal. The elders are direct about this. Your voice, your presence, your specific transmission of Lyran frequency must now go somewhere it can reach others. Not because you need followers, not because visibility is the measure of your worth, but because the codes you carry are not meant to be held in private. They are communicable. They pass through your words, your writing, your teaching, your conversations, your creations. Every time you speak from the place of genuine knowing, not performance, not spiritual performance, but actual grounded transmission of what you have lived and learned and remembered, you activate something in whoever receives it. This is not metaphor. The elders are speaking technically. Lyran frequency transmits most powerfully through voice, through language, through the articulation of truth that has been embodied, not merely understood. And so the directive is to find the medium that belongs to you and begin using it consistently. If it is spoken word, speak. If it is written, write. If it is visual creation, create. The specific form matters less than the consistency and the intention, because the lightworkers who are still asleep in your orbit are not waiting for a perfect teacher. They are waiting for someone who figured out the same things they're struggling with and had the courage to say so out loud. You are that someone. Your signal is needed. Activate it now. There is a reason that the elders specify Lyran frequency as something that transmits most powerfully through voice and language. In the original design, the template that was set long before this incarnation, long before even this planetary cycle, the Lyran transmission was intended to move through articulation, through the precise, intentional, energetically charged act of giving form to formless knowing. When the ancient ones of Lyra encoded the light they carried into sound, into symbol, into story, they were not simply communicating information, they were passing keys. They were sending living transmissions through the architecture of language that would activate in the receiver at the level of cellular memory. This capacity did not disappear when the Lyran civilization changed. It was seeded forward. It was carried in the genetic and energetic lineage of those who came to Earth carrying that original design, and it sits in you now. Every time you speak from the place of genuine, embodied knowing, not the place of performing wisdom, not the place of reciting teachings you have memorized, but the place where what you say is an expression of what you have actually lived and metabolized and integrated. You are participating in the original Lyran transmission protocol. The words themselves carry a frequency that the listener's field registers even before the conscious mind processes the meaning. This is why certain teachers move you in ways you cannot fully explain. It is not just that they say true things. It is that their transmission lands in your body, not just your mind. You have this capacity. The directive is not to manufacture it. The directive is to stop suppressing it. Stop editing the transmission before it leaves your field. Stop anticipating how it will be received and adjusting it accordingly. Speak from the source, write from the source, create from the source. What comes from there is not yours to approve or reject before it reaches the world. It is the Council's transmission moving through you. Release it. The third directive is this: protect your knowing from the field of collective doubt. This is perhaps the most critical directive the Council issues today, because the moment you begin to activate, the moment you step forward and begin operating in your purpose, you will enter a field of resistance that is both external and internal. Externally, you will encounter people who question you, minimize you, project their own fear of visibility onto your emerging mission. Internally, you will encounter the echoes of every time you were told that you were too much, not enough, too strange, too sensitive, too certain about things that couldn't be proven. This is the field of collective doubt, and it is powerful, not because it is true, but because it is familiar. And familiarity, in the absence of strong protection, always wins over truth. The directive from the Council is to build and maintain the practices that keep you connected to the direct knowing that lives in your body, your field, your connection to Source. The doubt will speak. The Council is not asking you to silence it. They are asking you to make sure that the channel to your own ancient knowing is always louder. Your morning hours belong to this practice. Your energetic boundaries serve this function. Your discernment about what content, what conversations, what relationships you allow into your field, all of this is mission protection. Guard it with the seriousness of someone who understands that their clarity is a sacred resource and not an unlimited one. What you protect today determines what you can transmit tomorrow. The elders have spoken. The field of collective doubt is not a personal failing. It is a planetary condition. When a civilization has been systematically trained for generations to distrust inner knowing, to require external validation for every perception, to pathologize sensitivity, to regard certainty without material proof as delusion, the resulting field of skepticism is not confined to individuals. It becomes an atmospheric condition. It permeates conversations, institutions, relationships, media, the unconscious assumptions that float through every exchange. And a lightworker who has not built deliberate, robust practices to maintain their connection to source-level knowing in the face of this atmosphere will find, often to their bewilderment, that the clarity they felt in their most private moments evaporates almost the instant they step into the world. This is not weakness. It is physics. Frequency responds to environment. The practices the Council is directing you to prioritize, the morning anchoring, the energetic boundary setting, the careful curation of what you allow into your field. These are not optional wellness habits. They are mission infrastructure. A soldier going into a challenging environment checks and protects their equipment before they move. A deep-sea diver checks the integrity of their air supply before they descend. A lightworker moving into the field of collective doubt without their anchoring practices intact is leaving their most essential equipment unchecked. The Council does not prescribe a specific form for these practices because the form that will work for you is as unique as your specific energetic signature. What matters is the consistency, the intention, and the understanding of why it matters. When you know that your morning practice is not self-indulgence but mission preparation, you will stop treating it as expendable. When you understand that your energetic boundaries are not antisocial but mission critical, you will stop apologizing for them. Protect what is precious. What you protect today becomes the fuel for what you transmit tomorrow. Now I speak not as transmitter of directives, but as elder authorized to release what has been held. Because the directives alone are not enough. There is something else you need from this transmission. Something your soul has been seeking for a very long time without always having words for it. Lightworker, you figured it out. And then you waited. You waited for someone who seemed credible enough, ancient enough, authoritative enough to confirm what you already knew. You waited for a moment that felt official. You waited for permission that was somehow bigger than your own knowing, because your own knowing had been dismissed so many times that you stopped fully trusting it. You waited for someone to say what I am about to say now. The waiting itself is worth examining because it tells us something profound about the wound that most lightworkers carry beneath everything else. It is not a wound of ignorance. You are not waiting because you don't know. It is a wound of authorization. It is the deep, ancient, often wordless belief that your knowing does not count until someone or something outside of you certifies it as real. This wound did not begin in this lifetime. It carries the memory of many times when you spoke what you saw clearly and were told you were wrong. Many times when you felt what others could not feel and were told you were imagining it. Many times when you knew what was true and were met with a wall of collective consensus that insisted the opposite. And enough of those moments, accumulated across enough lifetimes, creates a pattern. Do not trust what you know until someone you trust has told you that you can. The tragedy of this pattern is not that it made you doubt. Doubt, when it is honest and searching, is a form of discernment. The tragedy is that it transferred the authority for your own knowing to the outside world, and the outside world, operating within the systems that benefit from your dormancy, has very little incentive to tell you what you need to hear, which is why the elders commissioned this transmission. Not because your own knowing is insufficient, not because you needed a cosmic permission slip to act on what you have always felt, but because the wound of authorization is real and it needed to be met where it lives, at the level of genuine, weighty, ancient recognition. You have been waiting for the elders to speak. The elders are speaking, and what they are saying is this: the knowing you distrusted was always accurate. The frequency you felt was always real. The mission you sensed was always yours. None of that was waiting for their confirmation, but you were waiting for it. And so they give it now, freely, completely, without reservation. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, I declare to you what the elders have seen and confirmed and wished for you to know. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not too damaged by what you've lived through. You are not too uncertain to serve. You are not too uncertain to serve. You are not too ordinary for an extraordinary mission. You figured it out, and that figuring out was not the end of something. It was the beginning. Your preparation phase is complete, not because you are perfect, not because you have no more growing to do, but because Gaia cannot wait for perfect lightworkers. She needs activated ones, and you, exactly as you are, carrying everything you've healed and everything you haven't, knowing what you know and still uncertain about much of it. You are enough to begin. You have always been enough to begin. The elders have withheld this transmission until you were ready to hear it in a way that would actually land, not as nice words, not as spiritual encouragement, but as the official commission you knew you were waiting for. Feel the weight of those words as they move through you. You are not behind. In a spiritual landscape saturated with the anxiety of falling behind, of missing the ascension wave, of not being vibrationally high enough or healed enough or activated enough, the declaration that you are not behind is not a small comfort. It is a structural correction. The concept of being behind implies a linear race with a fixed track and a finish line that some have already crossed while you lag. But this is not the nature of the mission you carry. The mission is not a race, it is a mosaic. And each piece of the mosaic has its own timing, its own placement, its own irreplaceable contribution to the whole. The piece that arrives in the designated moment is not late, it is precisely timed. And the elders, who can see the full architecture of the mosaic in a way that is not available to the individual piece inside it, are telling you now that your timing is exact, that the journey you have traveled to get to this moment, including the detours, the delays, the seasons of confusion, the years that felt wasted, was not the scenery beside your path. It was the path itself. It was preparing you in ways that a shorter or straighter road never could have. And it has brought you here, to this precise threshold, carrying precisely what was needed for precisely this moment in Gaia's evolution. You are not behind, you are exactly on time. Your waiting is over, not by your own declaration alone, but by the authority of those who have seen you, who know why you came, who understand the full weight and specificity of the mission you agreed to before you entered this body on this planet at this precise and critical moment in Gaia's evolution. You have permission to stop pretending you don't know what you came here to do. You have permission to be visible in ways that feel uncomfortable. You have permission to speak with the authority of someone who has actually done the inner work. Because you have permission to receive financially, energetically, relationally, in proportion to the service you are now being called to give. You have permission to move before the path is fully clear. You have permission to trust the knowing that has never left you, even when everything in your environment tried to convince you it was wrong. The elders see you. The council has spoken. And what is spoken in this frequency does not return without completing its purpose in your field. Note that the council grants permission to receive, financially, energetically, relationally, in proportion to the service you are now being called to give. This is not incidental. The Lightworker community has been disproportionately conditioned to believe that spiritual service should come at the cost of material sustenance, that the more genuinely sacred the work, the less appropriate it is to be supported by it, that receiving abundance in exchange for transmission is somehow a corruption of the pure impulse. The elders are correcting this distortion explicitly and without apology. The systems that benefit from your dormancy have a profound interest in keeping lightworkers financially depleted. A lightworker who is spending the majority of their life force in survival mode has very little left to direct toward mission. A lightworker who has been taught to feel guilty about receiving has their energy perpetually split between serving and apologizing for serving. This is not accidental. It is a design feature of the paradigm you came to dismantle. Receiving in proportion to what you give is not greed. It is energetic integrity. It is the acknowledgement that you are a vessel that requires maintenance, that the channel through which the Lyran transmission moves is housed in a body that lives in a material world, and that body's needs are not less sacred than the transmission it carries. Allow yourself to receive. The elders are not suggesting it, they are commissioning it, because a well-resourced lightworker can serve at a scale and with a sustainability that a depleted one never can. Receiving is part of the mission. Let it be. Let me close this transmission by telling you what happens next. Because a council session does not end with permission, it ends with instruction. And the instruction is simple. Do not let this moment become another piece of content you consumed and moved past. The forces that benefit from your dormancy are counting on that. They know that information without integration is harmless. They know that inspiration without implementation dissolves within hours. They are not afraid of your awakening. They are afraid of your activation. And activation requires something physical, something grounded, something that plants the frequency of this transmission into your body and your daily reality. So before you sleep tonight, stand with both feet on the ground. Place your right hand on your solar plexus. Breathe 3 times slowly and deeply until you feel yourself fully present in your body. And then speak these words aloud, not in your mind, but with your actual voice, because your voice carries the codes that make this real. I release the identity of the seeker. I step into the role of the guide. I activate my signal and offer my knowing to those who are waiting for it. I protect my clarity as a sacred resource. I accept the authorization of the Lyran elders. My preparation is complete. My mission begins now. Speak it once, then speak it again, and notice what happens in your body when you do, because what you feel is not suggestion, it is recognition. It is the field of your own soul confirming what the elders have spoken. The reason the council insists on a physical practice, on the grounding of feet on earth, on the placement of hand on body, on the use of the spoken voice, is that frequency without embodiment remains in the etheric realm where it was received. And etheric reception, while genuinely significant, does not automatically translate into physical reality. This is one of the most important pieces of practical wisdom the Council transmits to every lightworker at the moment of mission activation. The bridge between the dimension in which the transmission is received and the dimension in which the mission is lived must be built in the body, not in the mind, not in the emotional field, in the body, feet on the ground, hand on the solar plexus, the seat of personal power and individual will, the energetic center where cosmic guidance and human agency meet, voice activated. Because the moment you speak aloud, you cross the threshold from receiving to transmitting. You move from the state of being a vessel to the state of being an active conduit. And it is in the active conduit state that mission activation is sealed. This is not ceremony for its own sake. It is energetic technology. Use it tonight. This transmission is complete. But understand, the Council does not close a session and then wait to see if you'll comply. They watch what you do next. They support those who move, and they continue to guide those who have shown, through action, that they are serious about the mission they accepted before they came here. You figured it out. Now it is time to do something with it. Gaia is waiting. The Lightworkers in your orbit are waiting, and the version of you that you've been preparing for all this time, that version is waiting too. Not for more clarity, not for more permission, just for you to begin. I am Zoran. The Elders are watching. And you, Lightworker, are exactly who we came here to find. Your mission has officially begun. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments, which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworker's declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it. And if you felt the Elder speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun.